5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Atomic Salt Live Show. This is going to be the weekly live show. We're going to talk about everything in the tabletop hobby world. We're back for season 2 with episode number 24, and this week we're going to be discussing our top games we're going to play here in 2015. As always, I'm joined by Casey. Casey, how are you?
Alan, I am so happy to be back and doing this. It feels like we haven't done this for 6 months.
I've noticed, my set's changed up a little bit. This is a little bit of laziness. Yours has changed up a lot, too, I've noticed.
Yeah, so over the break, we actually decided to change houses. Not with each other, but my family moved to a new place. So we have a brand new office. I'm not operating out of my bedroom anymore. So it may look clean and tidy behind me, but that's because you can't see all the junk that I've stacked on either side of the computer away from the camera.
Now, you got a new house. Does that mean you're not going to be gaming in the garage anymore?
It does. So we actually have a rather large basement that's finished. That's kind of a rarity. Before we had one or two guys who had basements that weren't finished or they were really tiny. And so we'd be playing down there, you're shivering, you're in jackets, and, you don't actually have to, shake up the dice, your hands are just shivering so bad, that you let the dice fall out of your fingertips, and then hope they don't shatter when they're so cold. But, yeah, we have a nice new large playing area. We actually broke it in. Oh my gosh, it's already been a week since we did that. So,
We have 3 full tables.
We had 3 full 4x8 tables going. We didn't have everybody using all the tables at once. One table turned into a snack table, which I think is a pretty darn good use of the table. But yeah, there was plenty of room for everybody. We weren't bumping elbows, and it was good. All of us, we're not small men. We're all large men, and there's all room for us. And so it's quite pleasant. My wife was. This was actually to thank everybody who helped who helped us move. And so my wife, she was more than happy to make some goodies and to host, and she took good care of us. So it was a really good time.
That's nice, yeah. And hey, mate, that means I might be able to do some future bat reps down there too, huh?
I would love it. I think that we need to work on the lighting just a little bit, but the sound should be good there, and there's plenty of room to set things up. I see a real potential for this place. We're also close enough that we're close enough that all the original game group is still able to make it. So we only moved a few miles away from the old place.
Yeah, that's always good. Nothing like breaking into your new place with rolling some dice.
It's a good way to christen it.
So, let's see, we had Christmas and the New Year season, so did you get anything in your hobby other than moving your house and all? Did you get anything for hobbying?
No, I didn't do anything. That is the only thing I did. It turns out that moving is rather time intensive. It's rather money intensive as well. So I'll be honest, I haven't picked up a paintbrush in probably close to a month. Rolling dice last week, I think. I think I played a game against our local Blood Angel player last month, and that was about it. So I played 2 games, no painting, no nothing. What about you? What have you done in hobby over the last
I have
6
been.
weeks or so?
I've been going a little. Let's see, 2 months out. So, Wargames Consortium It's a site run by Chung and Lester Bursley and all that, and it's a lot of YouTubers. It's just kind of covers the whole spread, but they've gone and made uh, Facebook communities, Facebook groups, and so I got into a few of those. And the real cool thing about these groups is it's all like-minded people for, say, if you're playing Infinity or if you're just an artist, terrain builder. There's just something for everybody. But they do a monthly challenge, and you can do or it's really low key. So
Okay, because
you
I'm
don't
going to
have,
say I am not going into a painting challenge with Lester Burley at all. In no way,
yeah,
shape, or form. I hear he's entering, and I just break all my brushes in there.
yeah, it's not something that, I mean, you're not competing fully for top prize. And all the prizes are, as long as you can you finish, it's a random draw.
Oh, great.
And then so like for
So
the
that should
first one I
really
did,
encourage new players.
oh yeah, it's really it's you just do what you want for your army. I mean, all it really is completionist stuff. You do it, you get done, you check off that mark that you have something new finished, and then if you're lucky, you get something new in the mail.
Yeah,
And yeah, November we had for the Infinity group, we did 55 mil base challenge. And I did this little beauty for my 55 mil. This is Camille remote for the Infinity for Al Islam.
that was sharp. I love the
Yeah,
cockpit and the base on that.
yeah. I went a little different. Went out of comfort zone, and just for participating, I got a pack of Steinel Res, the airbrush, um,
Oh,
the airbrush primer from the good folks at Badger. So I was like, hey, yeah,
nice. You got like white, gray, and black. That's awesome, dude. You
yeah.
can do some multi-shade priming there.
So I mean, just all you have to do is participate. And let's see what else have they done. Yeah, right now is terrain building. So the groups I'm really active in are Malifaux and Infinity, and both of them are doing a terrain thing. So you just build up, you show your pre stuff, put a timestamp on there, and then your works you can post work in progress, and then at the end of the month, post all your finished stuff. And over the season, I picked up a whole Euro board set up from Shark Commander Laser. So it gives me a little motivation to get those done.
I want to see. So, for those of you who don't know, Euroboard it's not a certain style. It's in reference to how much actual terrain there is. Because Infinity, there's two main camps. There's when it comes to terrain, there's the Americans and the Europeans. And the big difference is that Americans tend to favor a lot more dense boards than the Europeans do. And you might just say, oh, there's no big deal to that. It actually has a really big impact in Infinity. You know, it makes, for the Americans, it means that things like flamethrowers and template weapons and cheap troops are really a lot more effective here than what they are there. And conversely, it means that over in Europe, things like tags are incredibly more useful.
Yeah, tags block line of sight, so that's a movable piece of terrain. And snipers are a lot more effective.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So when Alan is talking about a Euro board here, he's talking about a package which will fill a standard Infinity-sized terrain board to a European standard of terrain versus an American standard.
So yeah, I mean that's what I'm going to be doing here in a little bit, trying to figure out what I want to do and Sharkman laser stuff. So real nice and crisp. But let's see. For finished stuff, got back into 40K a little bit. I bought the new Blood Angels Codex, and they had Operation Deathstorm or Bloodstorm, which was Blood Angels and Bugs, two of the armies I collect. So went and broke down, picked up that box, and then at the local shop they had the old Finecast thing of Dante.
Ooh, shiny.
Yeah.
That is just so literally shiny.
Yeah. So made sure to painted him up just to add to my collection.
So now, did we see? Is that still that he's only available in Finecast, or did he get an update to plastic?
No, he's still Finecast. And then, really, lastly, just been trying to paint some Malifaux, and Malifaux's really dynamic, I guess. It's not the grimdark future, and it's not quite anime-esque of Infinity, but I did try. I'm trying out how to do yellows. Yellow's really tricky color to get right, so I'm gonna try to get this guy as like he's my test model.
Mm-hmm. Paint him white, and then Secret Weapon makes a yellow wash, and just start layering up the yellow.
And that's not how I play, though. I gotta make it difficult for myself.
We all do, don't we? You know, it's actually funny. We were talking about the Wargames Consortium, and you know, the way they do their challenges, and then this yellow, and I was thinking, oh man, you know, it's really nice to see things out there for the newer players, and because I was having this chat on Google Plus, and this guy just started painting some Infinity models, and it was literally the first models he'd ever started painting. You know, which jumping right in and with Infinity is kind of a scary thing to do. And then, and he was going, you know, and Infinity models are pretty tough. And this guy jumped on and said, "Hey, I bought these models like last week. These are literally the first two models I've ever done. What do you guys think?" And, you know, they look about like how you'd expect a person's first set of models to look. But, you know, he'd done a nice job. They look better than my first models ever did. But then immediately, it's like everybody just started jumping. Oh, well, you need to do this. Oh, you need to do that. You need to do that. I just feel really bad for this guy. Like, you know, he comes on here, you know, like saying like, "Hey, look at what I did. Isn't this cool and great?" You know, and immediately gets dogpiled by people who are like, "Oh, you obviously did not wet blend this," or you know, use a wash, and he had these washes if you look closely. And I feel really bad for the guy. Like, geez, we need to be very careful as a community. And here you go. Like I'm getting up on my soapbox here. So we need to be careful when new people come into this hobby, because it is so easy for us, and we're all learning to be helpful. But all we ever see online is, you know, nobody posts all the really crappy stuff. You know, it takes a lot of guts to put your new garbagey. I shouldn't say garbagey. I should just say you're very new and your first endeavors. But you know, we need to be cognizant of that. You know, instead of just immediately jumping, and he might not even have been looking for help. And sometimes people aren't. You know, they just want to say, "Hey, look what I did. I'm so excited to be starting." And then they get a whole bunch of comments and criticism that might have been, you know, with the best in mind, you know, really could have taken the wind out of this kid's sails. So I love that Wargames Consortium isn't actually doing contests; they're just encouraging people to go and paint and do those sorts of things. And just remember that, everybody. Just be nice when you see somebody paint. You know, be nice. Give them props, because it takes a lot of courage to post your stuff online. So, okay, there we go. Got off my soapbox.
I mean, that's very true, indeed. Yeah, it's a learning. There's a learning experience, especially with painting. It takes a while to get good, and I mean, you do what you got to do.
Yeah. So, all right. So enough of that stuff. Time for our topic of the week.
Yes. So this is the new year. This is 2015. Everybody last in December was doing their top list of the year. Well, I mean, we're going to do something different. We're going to do our top list starting the new year. And pretty much what...
It's not because we're lazy, guys. It's
No.
It's that we're apathetic.
I mean, we had a lot of stuff going on. Casey was moving into his new house, and yeah, we're looking forward. We're not looking back. We're progressive.
Yeah, that's right.
So yes, we've come up with a list of games that we want to play here in 2015.
Okay,
And
so that we're not sitting here for the next several hours. You want to do your top 3, and then I'll do my top 3, or we can alternate. You can do your number 3, I'll do my number 3. You can do your number 2, I'll do my number 2.
Yeah, I've got 3 and then 2 contenders.
Outstanding. So let's start with your number 3. And now here's a question: are these new games that you want to play, or just games that you want to play in general?
I will tell you, I had a kind of a criteria of when I picked out these games. And I'll explain it here in a sec. So, number 3, Dropzone Commander. And why did I pick that? One, they got the new plastic starters, so very easy to get into the game, low cost to get in. They've got the rules inside, and they have a 2-player kit as well. And it's a very dynamic game. Real easy to pick up and learn, and one of those hard games to master. And the miniatures look great for, was it 10, 15 mil? So it's a game that it's a brand new experience, and it's one I'm looking forward to play. And then right here I've got the post-Human Republic. So I mean, who doesn't love bioengineered humans in walkers with... Yeah. I mean...
All right, and I totally didn't go anywhere when we were talking.
Well, I finished my speech. So, what were you off doing?
I didn't realize that we were actually grabbing stuff to bring over and actually show. So I was frantically digging through all of my stuff. So, okay. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's season 2, and the show that you know and love has not changed one bit. Okay.
It's low cost to get in, brand new plastic kits. They have the rules in the box, rules online, and they have a 2-player starter set. So that's why I chose Dropzone Commander for my number 3 slot.
Cool. So, for my number 3 slot, I chose Dropzone Commander as well.
Nice.
Now, as you mentioned, make sure I got this all lined up here. So you gonna read that? Yeah. So this is actually the starter box for Dropzone Commander. I have had this little beauty sitting in my shelf, or on my shelf, for the last 1.5 years, I think. No, it can't be 2 years. It can't be 2 years because, okay. Yeah, no, 1.5 years at the most, really. Because I actually, confession, I didn't buy this. I actually won this from Beast of War. So thank you guys across the pond. On a competition, I remember I sent a picture of my daughter holding it to him. I was just looking at this picture. So she was 1.5 in that picture, and she's a little over 3 now. So yeah, so 1.5 years. So the reason I picked this is, first of all, I have it, and it's just been sitting around for far too long. Second of all, because I want to try to start expanding the scope of what I do. Mostly I've been playing 28mm games, and these are, kind of large-scale games, like 40K. And by I mean really just in general 40K. Whereas Dropzone Commander, I think I can play games with smaller armies, and it can still feel big. by bringing down the scale. So, because I love small skirmish games. Those have their place, like Infinity. That's why I play Infinity, because I can get away with just 8 or 9 models. But it loses that epic feel sometimes, just like big forces just going, bashing each other, going head to head, which I think Dropzone Commander. But I'm trying to fill different niches here with my list. So, okay. So that was my number 3. Alan, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is Malifaux. And so Malifaux, it's new, little hot in our gaming community. It shows that, like, one, they have second edition rules, brand new edition, getting a lot of people into it. They've got a plastic range compared to their old metal range. Miniatures look great. Like you just saw the yellow guy earlier. He's one of the in the new plastic pack. Low cost to buy in. You buy a crew box. A crew box has like 35 points, which is pretty much everything you need to get started. And it's a new, different dynamic in a way. It doesn't use dice. It's a card flipping game. So it's very resource management and bluffing. And it's a skirmish style, so only on a 3 foot by 3 foot board. So real intense games.
Okay, so you mean crew boxes like this?
Yeah.
Because Malifaux is my number 2 as well. This is we should have planned it. This is how you can tell that we aren't scripting this. Because
Great minds think alike.
We would make this far more interesting if we had. Okay, no. So once again, my number 2 for starting to play this year is Malifaux. First and foremost is because, again, I've had this sitting on my shelf for 6 months. No, not that. 4 months. No, 3 months. 3 months. I'm getting better. Stuff only sits for 3 months or 4 months by the time I get to think of it. Anyways, what I like about Malifaux is, like I said, I like big games. And I like big epic games. Games where I sit down with my buddy and say, all right, the next 5 hours we are going to settle the fate of this planet. But at the same time, once you do one of those, then, a lot of times you're like, all right, I'm up for another game. I'd like to play something, but gosh, I just don't want to do another 5 hours long. And so that's where a skirmish game comes in. Because I like the idea that it can be fast, it's going to be action-packed, and as you mentioned, it uses the card mechanic versus dice, so I like that it's a little bit different. And I don't know, maybe I won't play it. I don't think I'll ever play this. Excuse me, I don't think I'll ever play this game competitively. But it looks like a fun game that I can pick up quickly, other people can pick up quickly, and we can just throw down for like half hour, 45 minutes, and just have a fun, quick little battle. And I won't lie, I love playing cards, and I don't mean stuff like card games like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh or any of that stuff. That's not me. I like actual like Codex. I think that they're really cool. So I won't lie, I've spent like several hours already trying to find the perfect Malifaux deck for my guys. So there we go. There's my number 2.
Nice. All right, so number 1 for me might be same number 1 for Casey. We'll see. Is Infinity. I'm picking Infinity. This is brand new. The N3 core rulebook. This is rulebook replaces the old one. It's a new update to the game. Cleans up a lot of issues from before. Makes play a lot faster, and the new dynamic in total. And it's Infinity. Infinity has a full metal range, high dynamic looking miniatures. All most of them are the new 3D sculpts, so they look absolutely beautiful. They have like one of the best painters in their crew, Angel Heraldez, and it's another skirmish style game. Real easy to get into. Only costs you maybe one, or you buy one box and then 2 blisters. That gets you enough points to do a small starter game.
Great. And guess what? I did not have Infinity Fist as my number one. Ah. Well, okay, actually, I'm lying. I did have it picked as number one, but we're not going to do that because that's too boring. But I didn't go and grab anything for it. So
You don't have to grab it.
Yeah. So we're going to change it. My number 4 is now going to become my number 1, just so we have something a little bit different. And since I want to hold up something, I'll hold up this. It's an airplane. Specifically, do you know what this is, Alan?
P-51?
P-51D Mustang, built by North America. I'm kind of a plane nut, so we won't go into it. Because actually, P-51 has a really cool story, but it's totally not germane to what we're talking about. However, the P-51 was involved in World War II, which is the game that I'm talking about, and that is Bolt Action. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, Bolt Action is a World War II game, and it's a little bit different in the way it works. You actually activate your units over the course of the turn, and every unit gets a dice. So at the start of the game, say Alan has 3 units, and I have 3 units. Alan is the blue team, I'm the red team. He throws in 3 blue markers, and I throw in 3 red markers into a bag or a box or whatever. At the beginning of the game turn, we begin drawing these tokens out. So when we draw it out, it could be a blue token, it could be a red token. And if it's mine, let's say it's a red token, that means I get to activate any one of my 3 units that I want. Then he gets activated. And once he does what he does, then we draw again. This time it could be a blue token. And so then Alan gets to pick whichever one he wants to do after that. And that way, and you just go all the way down until you draw all the tokens. So it might seem like things are a little unfair. You know, say, oh, well, he got to activate 2 of his units before I got to activate them. That might be true, but then that means that you have a higher probability of activating your things later on and coming on strong at the end of the turn. And then at the beginning of the next turn, all those tokens go right back in, shuffle right back up. So forcing your opponent to go last in the turn isn't necessarily a bad thing, because he could be activating his unit again. And this actually happened to us in a demo game. Even though I got to go first, my opponent got to use his unit twice, because he went at the end of the turn and then again at the beginning of the turn. So, and I don't know, I feel like painting some Germans.
Is this a 28 mil or 10 mil?
It is 28 mil. It is 28 mil. The interesting thing is that it's made by Osprey Games, and so there's a lot of, like, just a ton of really gorgeous illustrations in it, and they work a lot to get the detail right. Like, this is really a game that's done by enthusiasts. So, and inside of the book you have just pages and pages of history. You know, it might be the development of a certain type of machine gun, or the fielding of a tank. And that's the cool thing is, I love making up my own stories, like Infinity or in 40K or Dropzone Commander. But at the same time, it's really interesting to learn about real history and about things that really happened. So, and it's 28 mil. There's only one rule book. They don't do editions. They just do expansions. So it's actually fairly easy to get into. So, and you can find World War II minis everywhere. So there we go. Those are my top 3. Cool.
Very cool, very cool. So I had a few runners up. Mostly these are the ones. My runners up are Kickstarters, so they haven't shown up yet. My runner up is Wrath of Kings.
Interesting.
And Here,
You're going all square base on us.
no, Wrath of Kings is a
Oh.
round base. And so here's a few of the miniatures painted by the one, the only Jen Haley of Cool Mini. This was a Kickstarter by Cool Mini. And, yeah, kind of steampunkish to a small degree.
Shark people. I dig that.
Shark people, you got shark person with crab arm. There's some very different styles. They look kind of like a steampunkish looking. It's actually a little dwarf inside a full thing of power armor.
All right, because what else would they wear?
And yeah, so.
All right, this is the big people one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was very different style.
And this one is actually starting to ship. So I'm very interested to get my package in the mail. I forget what everything I ordered. I do know the two armies I got were Goritsi and the Shalhan, so vampire werewolves and the Asian dragons. So it'd be interesting to see what the box comes in, what the miniatures look like finally, and get playing on that game.
Yeah, that was an interesting one that came out. I was really tempted by it, but I had a hard time finding an army that I could really get behind. Because I would look at it like, oh, this is a really cool model, and this is a really cool model. I'm like, but then they have that. Or there was always like, yeah, so good luck on that one. Because I could never find an army that I just really got excited about. Was there one more?
Yeah, the next one was Super Dungeon Explorer. That one's shipping here soon, the Forgotten Kings expansion. And that, yeah, I mean, we both played Super Dungeon Explorer. The rules have been updated with this Kickstarter. They've got a arcade rule system. They've got a quest rule system, and then they updated the core rules.
And I think there's even a option now where you don't have to have a person playing as the console. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I'm calling it right now because you're right. We have played SDE together, and we always have a good time. So when that ships and when it gets to you, you let me know because you're coming over to my place and we're gonna play some because I know Natalie likes it too.
Yeah, that's one of those games. It's great for the family, and it's chibi. Like one of the things we discussed here with my painter group is, I mean, because we have Super Dungeon Explorer, I've got Arcadia Quest, there's Zombicide and all that. It's where do you draw the line if wanting to paint these miniatures? Because when they look painted, they're great, but when they're unpainted, they still look pretty good. They're really nice looking miniatures, but they're also game pieces too. So there's a little. I guess once we have all other stuff painted, we'll come back to these. But I'm not in a rush to paint these, even though they look pretty good.
Yeah, as a part of the Relevance Kickstarter, they had a number of those, and I picked up a few of the special edition SDE characters off that. And they're still my cute because they are fun to paint. It's they're not exactly high detail. They're very different in style, and it's just a single smaller model which you can paint up pretty fast. So it's kind of a nice break in between things. So, but yes, we might have to do like a monthly. I mean, if this is a campaign system, we might have to do like a monthly Super Dungeon. And I can say that confidently because I know my wife likes that game too, so it'll happen.
There you go. Get more people addicted to good games.
Those that game together stick.
Do you have anything else on your list, Case?
I had two other things on my list here. I have written down various board games, which Super Dungeon Explorer was a part of. suck and steal all my stuff. I'm going first next time. I actually had 30K as something that I would like to try and start playing. I hear a lot about it, and right now I'm reading the Horus Heresy books by Black Library, and they are really, really good. Like, I've heard a lot of people describe Black Library as bullshit, and I can see how it easily gets to that. But most of these books are not about guys fighting. There might be a chapter or two spread out throughout a book, where it's a combat sequence, but it's a lot about the philosophy, why these guys rebelled, what makes the different legions different, thoughts behind the different primarchs, and really exploring the Imperium before 40K. All the things that 40K lore says, well, we can never know for certain. We get to know for certain. And I've just started. I'm only a few books in, but I've really enjoyed it, and it's kind of gotten me excited. I want to try out what Forge World has in terms of the rules. I hate Forge World prices. It's almost like $1 per plate.
You just got to watch that pound to dollar ratio. As soon as it gets to that happy spot, you make your order.
Yeah. Oh gosh, if I could just find. Here's the thing: even without like the conversion, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm paying $35 for a Space Marine, and then you're like, oh wait, no, I'm paying $70 for a Space Marine. It's a little difficult.
Or no, just go to an event where there's going to be Forge World at.
Yeah, there's that. So I'd like to try it out at least because I've heard that they have some interesting campaign systems, some interesting lists. It probably won't happen, but I'd like to do it.
Speaking of campaigns, so now that we're pretty much kind of off our list, we can discuss a few other things. Have you signed up for the Infinity RPG?
I have. Have you?
Yes, and they just actually sent out the was Alpha Rules packet.
Yep. We've gotten, as you said, the rules are in Alpha, so we've gotten the bare basics, kind of some character sheets with some limited options to build characters and a scenario to try out.
Yep, and friend of the show, Dormicon, you can find him, Dormicon RTD. He's actually going to be doing I think a live stream version of the first mission. So we'll post on that once that comes out.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to talk about that. This is my first RPG, so I'm a little nervous. I'm a little scared. I don't know if there's going to be weird smells or lights or something. Do we wear masks involved? I've just got like scenes from Eyes Wide Shut going on. And Alan, I don't want to see it.
No, it's an RPG, so you just go a little crazy. And if nothing else, use a shotgun. Shotguns are answer to every answer.
So I've been listening to there's another podcast out there. It's called Jaded Gaming Cast. Like there are a couple of crazy Canadians who start drinking at the beginning of the podcast, and by the end of it, they get rather belligerent, and they don't usually have nice things to say about any game, which is kind of fun. Not safe for work. Definitely put on headphones or don't listen to it around your spouse or your children. But they've been going through the new Dungeons and Dragons starter set, and that kind of has a beginning campaign. And one of them is a very experienced RPG guy. He's their dungeon master. The other guy is just totally new to it. And there's a lot of situations where you think, okay, now we need to stop. We hear these guys around a campfire. They're a bunch of bad guys. Let's listen to them. Okay, we're going to ambush them. And the guy just goes, nope, screw it. I'm turned into a grizzly bear, because I guess that's something you can do. Turn into a grizzly bear, and just goes like punching through walls.
Leroy Jenkins?
But I guess bears are like a really big deal, and so he just goes balls to the wall and
No, bear tactics.
yeah, he just
No,
murders everything.
Nothing beats bear tactics.
And it's great listening to him, as he's trying to do. He's like, okay, so one guy he sees it and he goes running off, and he's like, as an aside tactic, so you can knock him out, or you can just knock him down to interrogate it. And the other guy goes, screw it, bears don't take prisoners. And,
yeah.
So
See, that's the thing about RPGs. RPGs, if you can get a really good DM will handle everybody's quirks, and then sometimes, the dice, it's just like with every other game. Dice can love you, dice can hate you. I went up playing GURPS one time. I was the rogue, went up to go and knock out the back of the guy, rolled a critical, put my fist through his head.
that's quite a punch there.
Yeah.
Fist of the North Star punch. So, all right. So we talked a little bit about the Infinity RPG. We'll let you guys know more when we know more. We'll definitely try and promote that live stream of it. So if you're not involved with it, at least you can listen in and see how the game plays.
And if you guys are interested, you can sign up at modifius.com and they'll send you the link to the packet.
Yes, please do. It's not too late to get involved with this. So, and then we've talked about our games that we're interested in playing. We found out we spend way too much time together. We're way too into the same things.
No, we're gonna get you steampunking. We'll get you steampunked one of these days. That's where you're gonna draw the line. That's where we'll go.
I just can't stand steampunk.
Hey, if nothing else, from what the rumors are saying, the new edition of Warhammer Fantasy is going to round bases, and it's going to be a skirmish level game. They are combining a majority of the armies into single factions. So, you might be able to have your cake and eat it too with a new fantasy game.
So I don't mind fantasy. Fantasy is very different from steampunk. But I have a really, really hard time believing these rumors that they're going over to round bases and they're going to change the skirmish. Because it just makes no sense. I mean, think about everybody has these huge. Because, if you think that 40K is a big game, fantasy is huge in terms of knowledge.
But remember, this is Games Workshop. I've got right next to me from the Deathstorm box, 32 millimeter base Space Marines.
So
they've changed up how their game is already.
Didn't you see the public release on that? Like somebody actually emailed into Games Workshop and they emailed them back saying, "Nope, we're not going to 32 mil bases or Space Marines, or 35 or whatever it is." They said this was a choice on the artists. They thought that they were a dynamic looking model. They thought that a larger base would actually look a little bit better on the smaller base. And so there is nothing to the idea that we're moving to larger bases. Because do you know how many people would just rage quit over that? If they had to change all their bases?
Especially all those. That would be more for tournament organizers who have to hunker down on those rules. But yes, that would make a lot of people with all those custom-based armies with the custom-based trays. Yeah, that would make people.
So,
but
it's even worse in fantasy because the model count is even higher.
Yeah, but they said they're going to
go. They would fundamentally alter the game.
The rumors say it's going to go down to skirmish level. So.
And you know what? They might go down to skirmish level as an option. But look at all the end time books where they combine those factions. I mean, Nagash is worth like 1,000 points by himself. I mean, anytime you're bringing like the big, you can consolidate your armies. Like the latest one, bring like, the Ultra Elf armies. which first of all was about the closest thing that's ever got me interested in fantasy. Just because it's like, and elves get everything. We take wood elves plus dark elves plus high elves. You just slam them all together, and they get everybody else's bonuses, which sounds amazing. But yeah, it's not changing the mechanics of it. And if anything, the end time books are only promoting larger scale games.
Well, I mean, I was talking with Matt from Titan Terrain Studios, and this might go, depending on what the rules for 9th edition are for fantasy, you might see people playing like they did with, like they're doing now with Dungeons and Dragons, playing a certain rules edition. So depending on how 9 is, you might see people saying, well, we don't really like 9, we're just going to play this tournament with using 8th edition.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'll concede. I could see where round bases would make sense for whatever their solo sort of things are, like their big monstrous creatures. Having a round base for that makes no sense in stories. And they might also give you option to say, yeah, even though these games really work at 2,000 points, here's a way to play it at a lower size. I believe that there's options for that, but changing their game up that much is only going to hate it too much. It just makes no sense.
Oh, yeah, and this is a company where it makes no sense is like you see people raging on the forums every other week.
Yeah, but a lot of times people on the internet just have nothing better to do than rage.
They start their own shows. That's what they do.
They do. So, but here, I'll throw another answer. I was talking to a buddy, and he said, and he's been out of 40K for about a year or so now, so I was catching him up. And I'm like, oh man, it's great because all these new things have happened last year. It's been huge. And he writes back and he's like, yeah, but I just kind of hate Games Workshop because their prices kind of suck and they don't ever they put out codices without models or models that don't have the rules and stuff isn't really balanced. He started a game playing Necron, so with the new edition, half the Codex existed. And I was just like, man, you don't get it. Like, they've stopped that. Like, all the codices have been really, really balanced with each other, except for like Eldar. And I'm like, and then they started releasing tons of stuff, and you can take anything from all these other different codices. So things have gotten, it's never been a more balanced game. And, every codex that comes out has all their models attacked. Prices I can't do anything with that. But basically I answered every one of those claims, and he just went, yeah, but, I still hate GW. And so it just tells you, people are going to hate what they're going to hate in this world, and on the internet, it just gets amplified. So, haters going to hate. What you going to do?
All right. Well, on that bombshell, I think we should end the show.
That's right. Hate me for not hating you.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. We're Atomic Salt. We're just here to chat. I mean, and if you guys agree or disagree, put it down here in the comments, and we'll be checking it out. We'll talk to you. Casey will say he'll pour out his haterade for you. But yeah, we want to hear what you guys think. I mean, this is the new year. There's a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. What do you want to see? What do you want to play? Let us know. And yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure you tune in next week and share this with your friends, and subscribe to see more. Anything else, Casey?
Nope. Just Jesus said love everyone. That applies to the internet as well.
And great night. Say the Emperor protects.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night. And as always, you can contact us at theatomicsalt@gmail.com. What's our old tagline? We're Atomic Salt, and we just blown your mind.